Signal from the void. The warning klaxon pulsed through the bridge of the EDS horizon, its crimson light washing over Commander Elena Kovic's face as she stared at the sensor display. Something had triggered the Deep Space Detection Array during their routine patrol of Neptune's orbital field. "Report," she ordered, her voice steady, despite the rush of adrenaline. Lieutenant Marcus Webb's fingers danced across his communication console. The young officer's eyes widened as he processed the incoming data. "Commander, we're picking up a signal. It's not one of ours." The bridge fell silent. Everyone understood what those words meant. "Not human," Kovacs clarified, needing absolute certainty. "No, ma'am. The pattern is artificial but doesn't match any known human communication protocols. It's coming from beyond the Kuiper belt, approximately 12.3 light-years away." Kovacs moved to his station, examining the waveform herself. "Play it." A series of undulating tones filled the bridge, interspersed with clicking sounds, and what might have been speech, if speech could exist outside the realm of human understanding. The pattern repeated after 40 seconds. Senior Navigation Officer Hiroshi Tanaka turned in his chair. "Commander, that's a distress call." "You're certain?" "The mathematical sequence embedded in the transmission. It uses prime numbers and universal constants. It's the same principles we use to signal intelligence. Someone's asking for help." Kovacs felt the weight of history settle on her shoulders. Humanity had spent centuries wondering if they were alone in the universe. They had sent probes, built massive radio telescopes, and established listening posts throughout the solar system. And now, finally, proof of intelligent alien life had reached them, in the form of a cry for help. "Lieutenant Webb, transmit this recording to Earth Command immediately, Priority Alpha, and run it through every translation algorithm we have." As her orders were carried out, Kovacs turned to the view screen, watching Neptune's blue swirls against the backdrop of distant stars. Somewhere out there, someone was calling, and humans would answer. General Diane Harris stood at the head of the circular table in United Earth Defense Council's underground chamber beneath Geneva. The 23 assembled representatives from Earth's major powers fell silent as the recording played for the third time. "That's definitely artificial," said Dr. Nolan Chen, Earth's leading xenolinguist. "The mathematical patterns are unmistakable. What's more interesting is that I've managed to extract what appear to be coordinates and a time signature." "So we know where they are?" asked the Chinese representative. "Yes, a star system we've designated HD 176,051, approximately 12.3 light-years away. The signal indicates the distress began 17 days ago, local time." General Harris nodded. "The question before this council is simple. Do we respond?" The room erupted in overlapping voices until Harris raised her hand for silence. "This could be a trap," stated the Russian representative. "An advanced species might use a false distress call to lure us. Or it could be genuine," countered Dr. Chen. "A civilization advanced enough to cross interstellar space wouldn't need tricks to overwhelm us if they wanted to." "I agree with Dr. Chen," said Harris. "This feels genuine. And if it is, how we respond says everything about who we are as a species." The American representative leaned forward. "Even if we wanted to help, our fastest ships would take years to reach that location." "Not necessarily," Harris replied, nodding to a woman in a lab coat sitting quietly at the far end of the table. "Dr. Eliza Santos, would you please brief the council on Project Vortex?" Dr. Santos stood, her dark eyes serious behind rimless glasses. "The Vortex drive has completed successful tests to Mars and back. It creates a localized distortion in space-time, essentially folding the distance between 2 points. Theoretical maximum range is 15 light-years." "Theoretical," repeated the European Union representative skeptically. "The math is sound," Santos replied. "We've just never had reason to attempt such a long jump." General Harris turned to face the council. "Ladies and gentlemen, I don't need to tell you that this is a historic moment. An intelligent species is calling for help. do we answer? After 3 hours of debate, the vote was cast, 19-4 in favor of mounting a rescue mission. 60 light-years from Earth, in a gleaming orbital station circling a gas giant with emerald rings, 4 aliens gathered around a circular conference table. "The monitoring probe has gone silent," said Sorrel, the tallest of the 4. Its translucent skin pulsed with agitation, multiple eyes blinking in sequence. "The human system was restricted," rumbled Vaughn, a massive being whose crystalline exoskeleton refracted light into rainbows. "Why was there a probe there at all?" Tella, whose serpentine body coiled around a specialized support chair, flicked a forked tongue. "The observation committee authorized increased surveillance. The humans have been developing faster than light technology." "What happened to the probe?" asked the 4th alien, a small bipedal creature named Pell, whose skin shifted colors with his emotions, currently a worried shade of orange. Floral's skin pulsed faster. "Drive failure near the edge of their system. Before we lost contact, they reported activating their emergency beacon." "On all frequencies?" Vaughn asked, crystalline spines rising in alarm. "Standard emergency protocol." Sorrel confirmed quietly. The 4 aliens exchanged horrified glances as they realized the implications. "If the humans detected that signal," Pell began. "They will come looking," Tella finished. "Impossible," Vaughn rumbled. "They don't have the technology to cross such distances. Our latest intelligence suggests they're closer to viable FTL travel than we thought." Sorrel countered. "They call it the vortex drive. Even if they received the signal, why would they respond?" Pell asked, skin shifting to a contemplative blue. "They don't know who sent it or why." Vaughn emitted a sound that might have been laughter. "You don't understand humans. They evolved on a death world, a planet that would kill any of us within hours. Their gravity is crushing, their atmosphere corrosive, their radiation levels absurd. What does that have to do with anything?" Tela hissed. "To survive such conditions," Vaughn explained, "they became something unique. Their cultural narratives, their very psychology, pushes them to help others even at great risk to themselves. If they heard a cry for help, they would come. We must alert the High Council immediately." Sorrel decided. The quarantine protocol may have been breached. Back aboard the EDS Horizon, Commander Kovacs received her new orders directly from General Harris. "Assemble the fleet, Commander. You'll be leading our response to the alien distress call." "The entire fleet, General. We're sending 15 vessels, including our 3 vortex-equipped ships. The Horizon will serve as the flagship. Dr. Chen and Dr. Santos will join your crew to manage first contact protocols and drive operations." Kovacs felt her heart rate quicken. "When do we depart?" "You have 5 days to prepare. This is history in the making, Commander. First contact, not in the way we imagined it, but perhaps in the best way possible. We're going to help them." "Yes, Mom. We won't let Earth down." After the communication ended, Kovacs turned to her waiting crew. Their faces showed a mixture of excitement and anxiety that mirrored her own feelings. "Well," she said with a slight smile, "looks like we have work to do." A High Council chamber of the Galactic Concord buzzed with agitation as representatives from 17 species debated the crisis. The massive holographic display at the center of the room showed Earth's solar system, with 15 vessels highlighted in red as they prepared to depart. "They are coming," said High Arbiter Mela, her luminescent wings fluttering with distress. "The Deathworlders are coming." "You keep using that term," said a newer council member, his 6 eyes blinking in confusion. "What exactly are Deathworlders?" Intelligence Director Vaughn activated another display showing Earth rotating slowly. "Look at this planet. The gravity is nearly twice what most Concord species can withstand. The oxygen levels would be toxic to half of us. The solar radiation would cause cellular breakdown within hours without protection." The image changed to human anatomical diagrams. "And these are the beings that evolved there. Their bones are reinforced with minerals that make them nearly unbreakable by our standards. Their muscles are dense and powerful. They can survive injuries that would kill any of us instantly. The council members stared in fascination and fear. But that's not what makes them truly dangerous. Vaughn continued, voice dropping lower. It's their minds. They evolved as pursuit predators, capable of tracking prey for days without rest. They can endure pain, hunger, and thirst that would drive most sentients to madness. A series of images flashed by. Humans building cities, fighting wars, exploring harsh environments. Their history is endless conflict, yet they keep advancing. They develop weapons specifically to kill others of their own kind. By the first light, whispered a council member, why have we not eliminated them? High Arbiter Mela's wings snapped taut in anger. Because we are not destroyers of worlds. The Concord exists to preserve life, not extinguish it. That is why Earth was quarantined 3 centuries ago, to give them time to mature as a species before contact. And now they're coming here. Sorrel said, because of our mistake. How many ships? Asked a counselor. 15 vessels, Vaughn reported. More powerful than anything the Concord has built in generations. We dismantled our weapons after the last conflict. The humans had no such agreement. What do they want? Asked another counselor. Why would they come all this way? That's what you're all missing. Sorrel said quietly. They're coming to help. The others looked at him in confusion. They received a distress call. Sorrel explained. In every instance of human behavior we've observed, they respond to calls for help, often at great risk to themselves. Their most honored individuals are those who sacrifice for others. So they're coming to rescue our probe, Mela realized. But what happens when they discover the truth? That we've been watching them for centuries. That we've classified them as too dangerous to contact. No one had an answer. 5 days later, Commander Kovacs stood on the bridge of the horizon as Earth's most advanced fleet assembled in high orbit. 15 ships, from rapid scouts to the massive carrier Columbia, represented humanity's finest technology. Dr. Chen approached her command chair. Commander, we've been analyzing the signal continuously. There's something odd about it. Odd how? The mathematical patterns are universal, as Navigation Officer Tanaka said. But some elements feel rushed, almost like it was sent by accident. Kovacs considered this. You think it might not have been intended for us? I can't be certain, Chen admitted, but something doesn't feel right. Intended for us or not, someone out there needs help, Kovacs replied. And that's what we're going to give them. She turned to her bridge crew, all watching expectantly. Prepare for vortex transition, she ordered. Let's see what's waiting for us at HD 176,051. None of them realized they were about to announce humanity's presence to a galaxy that had been watching from the shadows, a galaxy that considered them the most dangerous species in known space. First Contact Protocol. The EDS horizon emerged from the swirling blue-white vortex first, its massive hull gleaming under the light of an unfamiliar star. 14 other ships followed in precise formation, the fleet materializing like ghosts from the fabric of space itself. Commander Alina Kovacs gripped the arms of her command chair as the bridge systems stabilized. Status report, she ordered, scanning the bridge as officers checked their stations. Vortex transition complete, reported Dr. Santos, her voice betraying both exhaustion and exhilaration. All ships accounted for. Spatial coordinates match our target destination. Lieutenant Webb studied his console, scanning local space. Commander, I'm detecting a small vessel approximately 800,000 kilometers from our position. Energy signature is weak but present. That must be our distress call source, Kovacs said. Any response to our hails? Nothing yet, ma'am. Navigation Officer Tanaka looked up suddenly. Commander, I'm detecting another ship, much larger, moving toward us from behind the 4th planet. Kovacs straightened in her chair, put it on screen. The main view screen shifted to show a massive vessel unlike anything humans had ever built. Its design defied conventional engineering, with flowing organic curves and structures that seemed to pulse with internal light. "It's beautiful," someone whispered. "And 5 times the size of our largest ship," added Tanaka grimly. Still no response to hails. Webb reported, tension evident in his voice. Kovacs made her decision. "Maintain defensive posture. Lieutenant Webb, keep broadcasting first contact protocols on all frequencies. Dr. Chen, any progress on that translation algorithm?" "Working on it, Commander. These language patterns are unlike anything we've encountered before." "Commander," Tanaka interrupted, "3 more vessels have appeared from behind the planet. Smaller than the first, but still substantial." Kovacs felt a cold weight settle in her stomach. This was no longer a simple rescue mission. On the command deck of the Concord vessel Harmonious Unity, First Speaker Mela watched the human fleet with growing concern. "They arrived precisely at the probe's coordinates," observed Intelligence Director Vaughn. 15 vessels, just as our long-range sensors detected. "Their technology is remarkable," Sorrell admitted. "The spatial distortion they used, this vortex drive, it's unlike anything in our records." "Are they broadcasting?" Mila asked. "Yes, on multiple frequencies," confirmed communications specialist Pell. "The patterns suggest a greeting or identification." "We should respond before they consider our silence hostile," suggested Sorrell. Mila hesitated. The Council gave explicit instructions to retrieve the probe and avoid contact if possible. "It's too late for that," Vaughn rumbled. "They've already seen us. Our only choice now is how we manage this encounter." After a moment's consideration, Mila nodded. "Prepare a response. Use the universal mathematical sequences as a foundation, and alert the Council. The quarantine has officially failed." "Commander, we're receiving a transmission," Webb announced. "It's responding to our mathematical sequences." Dr. Chen rushed to Webb's station, eyes widening as she studied the incoming data. "They're attempting communication. The structure suggests they understand our basic greeting." "Can we establish a meaningful exchange?" Kovacs asked. "With time, yes. They're using similar mathematical concepts as a foundation. It's promising." Kovacs nodded. "Continue the dialogue. In the meantime, I want to investigate that distress signal. Prepare Shuttle Team Alpha." 20 minutes later, Kovacs led a small team toward the disabled probe in the Horizon's primary shuttle. The sleek craft moved smoothly through space, its enhanced engines bringing them quickly to their destination. Through the viewport, they got their first close look at the alien technology, a small oblong device with multiple sensor arrays and what appeared to be damaged propulsion systems. "That's it?" Security Chief Ramon Diaz asked doubtfully. "It's barely the size of our shuttle." "Size isn't everything," replied Dr. Chen, who had insisted on joining the mission. "Its technology could be far beyond ours." As they maneuvered closer, the shuttle's sensors picked up more details. "Commander," reported the pilot, "I'm detecting what appears to be an observation array pointed toward our solar system." A cold realization dawned on Kovacs. This isn't a stranded ship. It's a probe, a monitoring station. Dr. Chen's eyes widened. "They've been watching us." In the Concord Council emergency session, chaos erupted as the news spread. "The humans have discovered the observation probe," announced High Counselor Jex, his crystalline form vibrating with distress. "It was inevitable," Vaughn replied calmly. "They are intelligent beings. What happens when they realize we've been studying them like laboratory specimens?" demanded Counselor Taylor. "That we declared their world off-limits without their knowledge or consent. This situation requires immediate military response," declared General Kraz, a member of the warrior Velith species. "We cannot allow Deathworlders to threaten Concord security." "Violence is not the answer," countered Mela firmly. "These humans came in response to a distress call. They came to help, not to attack." "They came with warships," Kraz countered. Would you venture into unknown space unarmed? Sorrel asked quietly. The council chamber fell silent as the implications settled over them. Aboard the Harmonious Unity, First Speaker Mela received the council's divided instructions with growing unease. They cannot agree on a course of action, she told her command staff. Some advocate for open communication, others for immediate withdrawal, and a dangerous minority for preemptive measures. Preemptive measures, echoed Sorrel in horror. They can't be serious. General Kraz commands 3 warships currently stationed in this system, Vaughn reported grimly. They were part of our extraction team for the probe. The humans have done nothing hostile, Mila insisted. They responded to a distress call. Our distress call, sent in error. To attack them would violate every principle of the Concord. A communication alert sounded. First Speaker, Pell reported, the human commander is requesting direct communication. Mela straightened her posture, established the link. The holographic display activated, showing Commander Kovacs standing on her shuttle. I am Commander Elena Kovacs of Earth's United Defense Fleet, she began, the translation algorithms converting her words into understandable form. We came in response to a distress signal from this location. We now understand this was not a vessel in distress, but an observation probe directed at our system. I request an explanation. Mela stepped forward. Before Kovacs could respond, alarms blared through both vessels. 3 ships breaking formation, reported Vaughn urgently. Velith warships under General Kraz's command. What's happening? Demanded Kovacs. Commander, Webb's voice came through Kovacs' comm. 3 alien vessels are moving to attack positions. They're charging weapons. General Kraz stood on the bridge of the Concord warship Righteous Judgment, his scaled skin darkening with determination. The Council hesitates while Deathworlders threaten our civilization, he told his crew. We will not make that mistake. Their kind cannot be allowed to spread beyond their world. General, his second-in-command protested, they have shown no aggression. They are Deathworlders, Kraz replied coldly. Their very existence is aggressive. Fire when in range. Evasive maneuvers. Kovacs ordered over the comlink. All ships, defensive positions. Do not fire unless fired upon. Turning back to the holographic image of Mela, she demanded, is this your idea of peaceful contact? This is not authorized, Mela replied urgently. General Kraz is acting against Council orders. Please, Commander, do not retaliate. It will only confirm his beliefs about your species. Kovacs made an instant decision. Return to your vessel, she ordered her shuttle crew. To Mila, she said, I'll hold my fleet back, but I need you to stop your general. We came to help, not to start a war. The shuttle raced back toward the horizon as the 3 Velith warships opened fire on the human fleet. The weapons, energy beams unlike anything humans had encountered, struck the rearmost vessel, the EDS Intrepid. Report, Kovacs demanded as she rushed onto the horizon's bridge. The Intrepid's shields are holding, Webb reported. Minor damage to outer hull plating. Our shields repelled their initial attack. Dr. Santos asked incredulously. It seems they expected less resistance, Tanaka suggested. Kovacs took her command chair. All ships maintain defensive posture. Target their weapon systems only. We need precision hits, not destruction. As the human fleet maneuvered with unexpected agility, the Velith warships pressed their attack. But to General Kraz's growing dismay, his weapons weren't having the devastating effect he had anticipated. Impossible, he muttered as human vessels evaded his targeting systems with precision that should have been beyond their capabilities. They moved too quickly. His tactical officer looked up in shock. General, they're returning fire. Targeted strikes only. They're disabling our weapon arrays without causing critical damage. Deathworlders don't show restraint, Kraz insisted, even as the evidence before him suggested otherwise. On the Harmonious Unity, Mela watched the engagement with growing wonder. They could destroy Kraz's ships, Vaughn observed. Their weapons technology is more advanced than we estimated, yet they're only targeting weapon systems. They're showing restraint, Mila realized, everything we feared about them. And they're choosing minimal force. First speaker, Pell called out. The human commander is hailing us again. Kovic's face appeared on the holographic display. First speaker, we've disabled 2 of your warship's primary weapons. The third is retreating. We've sustained damage but no casualties. I propose an immediate ceasefire and diplomatic talks. You're not demanding surrender? Mila asked, genuinely surprised. We came to help, not conquer, Kovacs replied simply. This was a misunderstanding born of fear. I think both our peoples have had enough of that. Mila felt something shift in her understanding of these humans. I accept your proposal, Commander, and on behalf of the Concord, I extend our deepest apologies. 3 days later, Commander Kovacs stood in the Grand Observation Chamber of the Harmonious Unity alongside representatives from both fleets. The massive viewport showed the gas giant's emerald rings stretching across the starscape. The treaty is just a beginning, Mila was saying. There is much our peoples can learn from each other. I'm still processing the fact that you've been watching us for centuries, Kovacs admitted. All that time, we thought we were alone. You were never alone, Sorrel said. Just quarantined. Because you feared us, Kovacs observed. With reason, Vaughn rumbled. Your world would kill most of us within hours. Your bodies and minds evolved to survive conditions we consider impossible. You are stronger, more durable, and more adaptable than any species we've encountered. Yet when you heard a distress call from unknown beings, Mela added, your first instinct was to help, not to conquer or exploit. That says more about your species than any biological trait. Dr. Chen joined the conversation, and your fear of us says something about yours as well. Fear comes from misunderstanding. Perhaps what both our peoples need most is simply to talk to each other. There will be challenges, Mela cautioned. Not all Concord species will welcome contact with Earth, and not all humans will react well to learning we're not alone, Kovacs acknowledged. But the alternative is to remain strangers, governed by fear and assumptions. The wrong signal reached your world, Sorrel said thoughtfully. But perhaps it was the right message after all. As the discussions continued, Earth's fleet maintained its position in the alien system, no longer responding to a distress call, but beginning a new chapter in human history. The Deathworlders had arrived, bringing not destruction, but the hand of friendship, proving to a watchful galaxy that strength and compassion could exist in the same species, and the stars would never seem quite so silent again. Counselor Rodriguez sighed heavily. So we went from seeking a peaceful place in the galaxy to potentially leading a revolution in less than a month. They forced our hand, Jackson replied simply. They murdered Ambassador Reyes and planned to wipe out our entire species because they feared what we might become. Now they'll learn whether their fears were justified. 6 months later, Elena Reyes would have been proud to see the results of her final message. The new Concordat, an alliance of Earth and 9 formerly suppressed species, had taken control of Nexus Prime. The old conglomerate leadership had been removed from power. Some tried for crimes against sentient beings, others granted amnesty in exchange for cooperation. Commander Jackson, now Admiral Jackson, stood in the rebuilt Grand Assembly Hall, watching representatives from 47 worlds discuss new frameworks for interstellar cooperation. The Umbra devices had been locked away, their technology safeguarded but not forgotten, a last resort weapon that had brought a revolution without bloodshed. Admiral, the voice called from behind her. She turned to see Trelnax approaching, one of the few former conglomerate officials who had secretly opposed the Theta Protocol and helped the humans expose the truth. The delegation from Proxima Centauri has arrived, Trelnax reported, those mercury eyes shifting with what Jackson had learned was excitement. Their quantum communication breakthrough promises to transform interstellar relations. Good, Jackson nodded. Let's make sure they receive proper recognition for their innovation. As they walked together toward the meeting chambers, Jackson paused at a new monument erected in the central plaza of Nexus Prime, a holographic display showing the faces of Ambassador Elena Reyes and her team, beneath which was inscribed a simple message in hundreds of languages. They died bringing light to darkness. May we honor their sacrifice by embracing progress without fear. The sky had gone dark when the galactic conglomerate took a human envoy's life. But from that darkness, a new dawn had emerged, one where humanity and its allies stood ready to guide the galaxy toward a brighter future, unafraid of their potential, unbound by the fears of the past. On Earth, scientists were already working on the next generation of quantum drives, communication systems that could bridge galaxies, and medical technologies that promised near immortality. And for the first time in millennia, such advancements were celebrated throughout known space rather than suppressed. The stars belonged to those brave enough to reach for them, and humanity had proven itself more than worthy of the challenge. You know, Trellnax remarked as they resumed walking, the old conglomerate scholars had a saying, "Beware the young species that climbs too quickly, for they have not learned to fear the fall." Admiral Jackson smiled. Perhaps that was their mistake. Humans don't climb because we've forgotten to be afraid. We climb because we've learned that the view from the top is worth the risk. As she spoke, the artificial sun of Nexus Prime began its programmed ascent, spreading golden light throughout the station, light that represented not just illumination, but the promise of a future where progress would never again be shackled by fear. The darkness had served its purpose. Now it was time for light.